Hello everybody and welcome to the breakdown of the Japanese side of the AEW Women's Eliminator Tournament. I was really excited to see who was announced for this, and I really thought it'd be nice to share sort of a brief introduction into who everyone in it is and what that kind of vibe is going into it. So I hope you all appreciate this and enjoy it. And I just want to say thank you for 100 subscribers, because that's kind of amazing to me, considering all I do is make videos about obscure Japanese wrestling. But without further ado, let's get into it. First up is the legendary Aja Kong, whose accomplishments, if I were to list them all, probably be longer than the entire length of this video times 2. Aja is, if you are somehow uninitiated in her, an incredibly huge bruiser, legendary credentials, and a huge threat to anyone in this tournament. Even though she is 50, she's still a huge presence in Japanese wrestling and always commands any attention that could be going to someone else to herself. She's in fact so scary that once she appeared in the WWF and she kicked so much ass that Vince cancelled the women's division, probably out of jealousy, because, you know, it's Aja Kong. Most of her work was in the legendary All Japan Women's with the likes of Akira Hokuto, Bull Nakano, Manami Toyota. But even in recent years, she's had some really great matches with Hikaru Shida and MAKI to further cement her legacy. Next up is a name that will be familiar to most AEW fans, I imagine, is Yuka Sakazaki. After suffering a brutal defeat to Britt Baker and losing a tooth in the process, Yuka returned to TGPW and won the Princess title from Miyu Yamashita, and then held it for almost an entire year, which is close to the longest reign ever. So to say she was quite busy is a pretty big understatement. For the uninitiated, she is an incredible high energy, high flyer who innovates constantly and can also have a brutal ground game, which hasn't quite shown in AEW yet. So she could easily be one of the top competitors in this tournament. Next up is VENY, who is known as Asuka in Japan. While she's probably unfamiliar to a lot of AEW fans, she is arguably the most talented person coming into this tournament. She is only 22 and she has been progressing at an unbelievable rate and started off at an unbelievable rate. And she's extremely well-rounded, fantastic striker, a great technician. She has fantastic charisma. She's someone I'm really looking forward to seeing get exposed to a brand new audience. And if you want proof that I've been a fan of her for a very long time, all you have to do is go look at my video where I talk about pushing the limits of what wrestling is. And I mentioned my 2019 match of the year is the One Light 2 deathmatch featuring VENY. So I do have a habit of being a big fan of VENY. But yeah, she is fantastic. I think she's going to impress a lot of people with her first appearance in AEW. Next up is another legendary figure in Emi Sakura, the founder of Ice Ribbon and Gato Move. Emi is, of course, a legend, but she's a fantastic technician. She's trained a bunch of wrestlers who you might be familiar with, you know, including Hikaru Shida, Riho, and Mei Suruga. Emi will be a tough test for anyone, and I imagine she will go further in the tournament than people will expect. Then we have Ryo Mizunami, who has appeared in AEW before. She was in that 6-woman tag in one of the earliest shows, but she might not have had the chance to make the mark she really should have. She has that great wine aunt charisma going for her. She has a hilarious entrance, which Tony Khan better pay the big bucks to give us on national television. And overall, she's just someone who I think will surprise a lot of people when they really get to see her shine. With her charisma and her size, I think she'll really impress a lot of people. Then we have Mei Suruga, who is energy personified. As I said previously, she's trained by Emi Sakura. She does a lot of stuff in Gato Move, and she's an unbelievably energetic and quick-moving performer. Truly terrifying. She's great charisma, very lovable, even if she is, to be fair, a little gremlin. It's very important to remember that she is a gremlin. That's probably the biggest thing I know about her. Oh, and she does the cow mutilation with Jones. And we have the wrestler I was least familiar with going into this tournament, which is Rin Kakuda. I hope I'm saying that correctly. She was a big shock to me because I didn't know who she was. Apparently she works in Marvelous, and from all the reactions I've seen, she is a tremendously talented wrestler who's probably been overlooked to have not been known by more people at this point. Apparently she's also a striker, which is always great to see. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her. I have seen one or two of her matches now, but really, you always want to see people on the big stage, I think. And up finally, the wrestler who lives rent-free in my head is MAKI. Easily the cutest wrestler in the world, probably the most talented too. If you don't know her somehow, she has the ability to wrap any audience around her finger with her unbelievable charisma. She's been improving in ring at a rate that is really unsustainable for any person, but she does keep doing it. And a lot of people are making her the favourite to win this tournament, but I would argue that MAKI does what she does best when she's losing, so I would not get your hopes up too high for her. Overall, I think I was really impressed with this tournament, the Japanese side especially, with how much talent there is, how anyone could basically make it to the final and I would be happy. And overall, I'm just very excited, and I hope you enjoyed this video.